Okay, I know it's not a job we like doing, but it's got to be done. So here are 10 quick hacks, tips and tricks to make cleaning your jet ski easier, quicker and more effective. The first is to get yourself a garden hose wand, as they make the job so much easier. You want one that's at least 2 feet in length, so you can easily reach difficult areas such as the intake grate and the speed sensor wheel. To conserve water and avoid spraying yourself, make sure it has an on-off trigger. I like the style with a thin adjustable nozzle, so I can insert the tip into small areas such as the trailer frame, which leads me to the next hack. Most trailers rust from the inside out. Therefore, it's important to hose the inside of the trailer frame by sticking the hose in at one end and waiting for the fresh water to flow out the other. But to make this even more effective and further reduce the chance of rust, plug one end of the frame with your sponge and flood the entire tube with water. This next tip doesn't require anything extra and may save you from sinking. Before you wash down the engine bay, first take a good look inside the hull to confirm there is no water. You want the hull to be dry and watertight. Any water inside the hull could indicate some sort of leak, most commonly a loose engine hose. Now you can hose down the engine bay, which brings us to the next trick. When rinsing down the motor, you want to avoid spraying water inside the engine's air intake. The simplest way to prevent this is to cover the air intake with your hand while you're rinsing the area. Just ensure the engine is cooled down so you don't burn your hand. Okay, so you've rinsed the engine, but now the hull is full of water. Unscrewing the rear drain plugs and winding out the jockey wheel will get rid of some of the water, but not all. So to completely drain the hull, try this little hack. Lift the jockey wheel onto a stand. Some people like using an upturned bucket, but my preference is a flower pot. With the extra height, the remaining water will all flow out. Once in a while, I like to give the engine mounts a really good rinse. The problem is, they're hidden at the bottom of the hull, underneath the engine where you can't access. So instead, try this trick. Once you have rinsed and drained the engine bay, reinsert the drain plugs and fill the hull with an inch or two of water. This completely covers the engine mounts in clean, fresh water, which can then be drained away again in a few minutes. All of this cleaning and flushing can be very wet and noisy, so my next tip is to take your garden hose with you to the boat ramp. If it's not too busy and there's a water tap available, it's the perfect place to clean and flush your jet ski. Cleaning immediately at the boat ramp also gets the salt off faster than waiting until you get home. Just remember to take your hose adapter for the water tap, as they are often missing, and also remember your flush port adapter for your jet ski. Oh, and drain all the water from your hose before coiling it up and putting it back in your car. The drive home from the boat ramp is the perfect opportunity to drain your ski, and it's our next tip. Unscrew the rear drain plugs and take the hilly route home. Every time you drive up an incline, the water inside the hull will drain out without you having to do a thing. If possible, you can even leave the seats off and stow them in the back of your car. This will allow the engine bay to naturally air dry on the way home. Water left inside the hull or footwells can cause rust, mould and paint to bubble. To avoid this, you can use all sorts of suction and pump devices, but I find a simple sponge is the best method to soak up small puddles. And finally, when spraying the engine for rust protection, many areas are impossible to reach with a conventional spray bottle. For this reason, I like to use an extension hose with a 360-degree spray nozzle. This design by Fluid Film works well and simply plugs onto their aerosol cans. It shoots a thin mist in all directions to ensure everything is properly coated and protected. Well, I hope this has helped. Hang in there and I'll see you next time.